Jennifer was originally from Kentucky, now lives in Southern California. At the age of 32, she had everything going for her. A mother, a wife, recovery room nurse, living a very white picket fence life. But then the tremors started happening. The falls started occurring. Instead of waking up in the morning to make breakfast for her children, she was paralyzed for hours in bed. People were constantly asking her, "What is wrong with your leg?" as it drugged uselessly behind her. When these symptoms got progressively worse, she found herself in a doctor's office where 3 words were uttered to her that she thought was a death sentence. "You have Parkinson's." I would like everybody to raise their hand right now. Just hold it out in front of them. Now close it. Go ahead, open it up, and then close it again. Such a simple task we do, very mundane, without a thought. But what if you weren't able to complete this task? What if you couldn't even follow the command to complete this simple task? What if that same physical and mental block repeated itself throughout your entire body? This is Parkinson's. 7 to 10 million people worldwide are afflicted with Parkinson's disease. That is more than the number of people with Lou Gehrig's, muscular dystrophy, and multiple sclerosis combined. And the most horrific fact, as of this talk, there is no cure or even a viable vaccine. This sad tale is repeated over 60,000 times per year in the United States alone. With all these overwhelming symptoms, no wonder Jennifer considered this a death sentence. Parkinson's is a neurodegenerative disease, meaning that it affects the midbrain, creates dopamine deficiency, causing such symptoms as tremors, such symptoms as freezing episodes. Jennifer once described the feeling of freezing as having 500-pound weights attached to your legs. From there, a veritable laundry list of more symptoms: rigidity, loss of balance, falling, dystonia, impaired gross motor discoordination, loss of voice, muscular atrophy. And then there are the cognitive issues: short-term memory loss, sleep disturbance, sleep deprivation, confusion, again, more voice control, slow thinking, and in the more progressive cases, dementia. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, the end result for Parkinson's is very much a bleak outlook. Bedridden, wheelchair-bound, unable to perform basic living skills, a veritable prisoner in their own body, simply waiting for that death sentence to be carried out. But Jennifer didn't accept that fact as being absolute. She started researching. She started looking for something, anything that would help her simply hold her child, regain some sort of semblance of life. And that solution was found, of all places, in the form of 2 clenched fists. While researching the disease, she came across mentionings of individuals using, of all things, boxing to help with symptoms. She sought out a sensei of mine, a 7-time kickboxing champion. She began to train with him, intense, rigorous training. When a complete turnaround of her symptoms started occurring, she knew that she was onto something significant. The day that Jennifer walked into our gym, just a regular day, little did I know that that day would be the time that I would rally my cause to something far greater than myself. After training with her, after speaking with her, she asked me to help her create a program to help people like her with this life-changing neural therapy, to help spread this and to help others. And the fantastic thing was that we were delighted to learn that Jennifer's progress and story was repeatable. Enter Tom. Tom was a successful lawyer living in Southern California. Wife, kids, flew a Cessna as a hobby, living the quintessential American dream. But like in the previous tale, tremors started occurring. He had problems remembering his closing arguments. Initially shrugged off as just simply stress, when they became progressively worse, he too found himself inside a doctor's office, hearing those 3 words, "You have Parkinson's." Tom was told that in 4 years, most likely he would be giving up his law practice due to Parkinson's leaving him unable to speak, a common occurrence with Parkinson's, or even follow simple commands. He was told that within 6 years, his chances of a catastrophic fall would increase tenfold. He told me once the tremors got so bad that he wasn't even able to hold a simple spoon. He had to be force-fed by his loved ones. Yet we fast forward today, and not only are Tom and Jennifer managing their Parkinson's, they're thriving. For millions of people across the United States, there is hope. Enter the PD Fighters program in Newbury Park, California, a program designed by myself, Jennifer, Lisa Oliver, and the owner of Title Boxing Club, Newbury Park, specifically formulated to combat Parkinson's, combat the symptoms. And the beautiful part is that we are not alone. Across the United States, other facilities like Stop PD in New York, Rock Steady Boxing in Indiana, Neuroboxing, a nonprofit set up by Jennifer, are all creating programs to specifically combat these symptoms. In the case of our program, Jennifer's research on Parkinson's and my boxing and martial arts experience create a formidable foe against PD. We use what's called intense force exercise, or exercise that you would not normally, and in the case of most of our clients, not want of their own accord. The beautiful part is that the sweet science, or better known as boxing, creates a fantastic combination. The intensity creates neuroplasticity, meaning that it protects the neurons against the onslaught of Parkinson's. The movement drills, the boxing drills, the footwork, all essential for a fighter, help create stability, fight the muscular atrophy that occurs in Parkinson's. The mitt work drills, again the footwork drills, more so of the boxing and punching counting, keep the mind sharp and focused, preventing the cognitive impairment that you normally see in Parkinson's. But there is one word that is very important, and that is intensity. Webster's Dictionary defines intensity as being done with great enthusiasm or effort. When asked, what can I expect? I tell individuals, I offer no cure, but the hardest workout of your life. You will cry. I will push you. You will sweat. But I'm going to give you a fighting chance in the fight of your life. When we started the program, we had no idea what we'd be expecting. Minor improvements, small reductions. We were delighted to see across the board improvements on both symptoms as well as mobility. Individuals who beforehand had trouble doing basic exercises, and when we tested them, could barely stand up and out of a chair, were now doing exercises that they thought impossible, that they had long ago given up on. We're now going for personal best in exercises. We're now looking to challenge themselves. Hearing tales of astonished doctors saying that when they tested their patients, they were finding that their mobility and their movements were starting to become on par with a normal, healthy adult. In one case, the doctor told his client that Parkinson's disease aside, you are healthier now than before diagnosis. One of the most proudest moments of the program was when one of our PD fighters, a term we've coined for the individuals in the program, not an actual fighter, got into the car in the driver's seat and drove away with his wife. Again, a simple, mundane task. But when you realize that the state of California had taken away his driver's license due to Parkinson's leaving him unfit to drive, it's an amazing experience. But we started seeing something else that we did not expect. The human spirit is an amazing curiosity. We started seeing motivation returning. We started seeing determination returning. We started seeing the will to live returning in these individuals. These souls who thought up until this point that a walker, a cane, a wheelchair was their fate, when given the chance to knock down the walls that Parkinson's had built around them, took that chance and began to topple that wall, punch by punch, step by step, mile by grueling mile. And we discovered something else even more fantastic. Loved ones, relatives, friends, who up until this point could only stand by hopelessly and watch as their father, their mother, their brother, or their sister fade into nothingness. They now stand by them in that same exercise class, punching away at the same wall that Parkinson's has built, confident and full of hope that they too now have a weapon to combat that hopelessness that chronic diseases generally bestow upon a relative or a loved one. The gains in balance and return of cognitive function, while immense and quite astounding, pale in comparison to the resolve that these individuals have achieved. And in most cases, that resolve is returned and intensified greater than before. This paradigm shift is a new development in Parkinson's. Up until recently, most of everything was funded towards a cure. But the need for a quality of life improvement is grave. In fact, now the need for insurance companies to recognize this as a valid neural therapy is imminent. For those that have the mobility, the means, and the accessibility, this program will change lives. But until everyone on the planet has access to this, my quest for awareness will ever be ongoing, with the message that as long as you keep moving, as long as you keep fighting, the odds that were insurmountable can be toppled. Today, Jennifer and Tom are still fighting, and for the most part, managing. Jennifer is the co-director of the boxing program at Title Boxing, as well as the owner of Neuroboxing, a nonprofit platform she wants to use as a resource. Tom's happily retired, works out 3 to 4 days with myself, trains, works closely with a movement disorder specialist so that he can monitor the progression of his disease. As for myself, I stand firmly planted between Parkinson's and those in need, making sure that I continue to educate, train, and to raise awareness for this. For the two mentioned in my story, it changes lives. But for the over 10 million affected by this disease, it is just a drop in the bucket. The research backs the results, but funding and continual exposure are necessary so that this program can change lives, so that this program can continue to make impacts, so that programs like Stop PD in New York, like Rock Steady Boxing affiliates across the globe, like Neuroboxing, can not only continue to grow, but to educate individuals on this life-changing neurotherapy. And I implore everybody, if you know a loved one, if you know an individual with Parkinson's or with other similarly afflicted disease, don't wait. Tell them to move. Tell them to get out there, whether it be a traditional exercise program or one of our programs. They no longer have to have that sense of hopelessness. They no longer have to feel alone. There still is no cure for Parkinson's, and the research is ongoing. And so up until now, that means that as long as there is no cure, this disease will be looming over them. But there is more to that than simply this neurotherapy program. These individuals have learned that as long as they keep moving, keep fighting, keep moving on, they eventually will reach an intersection where determination and motivation meet. And there sits a boxing ring called success. Thank you.